Yesterday, Games Radar published an interview with the creative director for Star Wars Outlaws, Julian Geraghty, and it revealed some pretty major things for the way the game works. So in this video, I'll be going over all of that for you, but before I get into it, make sure you are subscribed to the channel with the notification bell turned on to never miss a piece of Star Wars Outlaws content. So ever since the game's reveal last June, we've known about this whole reputation system that we can have with the crime syndicates in the game, and how they will ultimately impact our experiences. Like for example, if you're on bad terms with the Pikes, they will start sending people after you, and that could even work in a way similar to the bounty hunter system in Star Wars Jedi Survivor, where you run into Haxian brood members, but at the same time it could be entirely different. Now we also know that the reputation system can help decide certain missions you can actually do or not do, as well as locations you can and can't enter. So it feels like there's a lot of freedom as to how we actually manipulate those relationships within the game, and perhaps we can change them quite significantly even after the story has finished anyway, so we may be able to cover all of the content on the game in just one playthrough, instead of having to play the game several times, although that of course would not be a bad thing either. Now in this article, Julian revealed that the reputation system is just one of the ways players can find nuance in an otherwise focused, tightly written story. Now that line alone honestly says quite a lot about the game, because it means that regardless of your reputation or the choices you make in story conversations, those choices ultimately won't impact the main story of the game. Now I know that some people will be disappointed with that, but for me personally, I much prefer to have a single cohesive story to experience, and because it conforms to the canon, it would be strange to have multiple endings, because at the end of the day one of them has to essentially be the canon path, with there being multiple other options. But I think in a franchise like Star Wars now that gets a little bit messy, but we will just have to wait and see on that, because I'm pretty sure Star Wars Eclipse will have multiple endings and pathways and stuff anyway, so I'll be interested to see how they deal with those situations. And I know that the whole canon conformity isn't for everyone, and that is absolutely fine. Personally, I really enjoy it because it provides a solid structure to follow with this vast universe of multimedia stories, and I honestly love how everything links together, because you could have books linked to films or TV shows linked to comics or whatever, and I just really enjoy that about Star Wars, honestly. So I'm just really excited to see how this game links to the films, and probably more so the comics with where it's set and the timeline, because the comics between episode 5 and 6 has a very heavy focus on crime syndicates and the underworld and everything from what I understand. So we could very easily see a lot of cameos from major characters from the comics in this storyline, which I'm really excited to see. But to summarise this then real quickly, the core story will ultimately have one ending, which will therefore not be impacted by the reputation system, but we can still ultimately have very different experiences with this game because of that reputation with the syndicates. I'm really keen to hear what you all think about this news in the comments below. I know we've kind of heard a bit about this already, but this time it feels like a more concrete proof and wording from Ubisoft, and it is the Ubisoft Investical next week, so we might actually be able to get a little bit more news on when the game is actually releasing. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel for any news we get on that. But that is it from me today. Thank you all very much for watching, and may the force be with you always.